The fire roared like a monster in the night, swallowing everything in its path. The screams, the heat, the blinding orange glow. It was chaos. A small boy was trapped inside the burning car, pounding his tiny fists against the window, smoke curling around his face. People stood frozen, horrified, paralyzed by fear. But one man moved, a biker with grease-stained hands, scars on his arms, and eyes that had seen too much pain. He dropped his cigarette, threw off his leather jacket, and ran straight toward the inferno. If you believe that kindness and second chances can still change the world, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This story will remind you that true heroes sometimes wear leather and ride with thunder. His name was Jack Hawk Morgan, a member of the Black Wind MC. To most, he was just another rough biker. Tattoos, long hair, black vest, always riding with his crew. But behind that tough shell lived a man burdened by regret. Years ago, Jack had lost his own family in a car accident caused by his reckless youth. Since that day, he carried guilt heavier than his Harley. Every mile he rode was a mile away from the man he used to be. That night, fate gave him a chance to face his past in the most unexpected way. It was just another evening at Route 299 Diner, a small roadside cafe where locals came for coffee and truckers stopped to rest. The waitress, Emily, was a single mother working double shifts to raise her 6-year-old son, Ben. They were well known to the bikers. Every time the Black Wind MC stopped by, Emily greeted them with a smile, unafraid of their rough looks. Her kindness had earned their respect, especially Jack's. He often watched quietly as she served coffee, talking softly to her little boy sitting in the corner, drawing pictures of motorcycles. That night, as the sun disappeared behind the desert hills, Jack and his crew parked their bikes outside the diner. The neon lights glowed red and blue, and laughter echoed as the men shared stories from the road. Emily smiled, refilling mugs and thanking them for good tips. Her son Ben played outside near the parking lot, chasing a small toy car that rolled a bit too far. It stopped right beside a parked sedan, and that's when everything changed. The car suddenly exploded. Flames burst into the air with a thunderous boom. The shockwave threw Emily to the ground, shattering glass across the diner floor. Screams filled the night. The sedan was engulfed in seconds, and inside little Ben was trapped. The door handle was twisted metal, the smoke was rising fast, and his tiny cries pierced through the chaos. Jack didn't think, he just ran. His boots hit the asphalt hard, his heart pounding louder than the fire's roar. The heat was unbearable, but he didn't stop. He ripped off his leather vest and wrapped it around his arm, using it to smash the back window. Flames singed his hair and scorched his skin, but he reached through the smoke, grabbed the boy, and pulled him out with all his strength. He fell backward onto the pavement, clutching Ben tightly against his chest. Emily was there in seconds, her face streaked with tears and soot. She wrapped her arms around her son, crying his name over and over. Jack lay on the ground, coughing from the smoke, his arms burned and bleeding. The other bikers rushed in with blankets and water, helping to smother the fire until the sirens wailed in the distance. The news spread fast. A biker had saved a little boy's life. For the first time, people didn't look at the Black Wind MC with fear or suspicion. They looked with gratitude. The next day, the diner was flooded with flowers, messages, and even local reporters. But Jack stayed quiet. He didn't do it for attention. He did it because for the first time in years, he saw a chance to make things right. When he looked at Ben, he saw his own lost son, the one he never got to save. In the days that followed, Emily visited Jack in the hospital. His arms were bandaged, and his skin bore the marks of fire. She brought her son along, holding his hand tightly. Ben shyly handed Jack a small drawing. It showed a motorcycle, flames behind it, and a man with wings pulling a boy to safety. "You're my hero," the little boy whispered. Jack's eyes filled with tears he didn't bother to hide. For a man who once thought his heart had turned to stone, that child's words shattered it open again. After Jack recovered, something beautiful happened. The bikers, moved by what had happened, organized a fundraiser for Emily and her son. They parked their bikes in a long line outside the diner, 299 engines rumbling in unity. They raised enough money to rebuild Emily's home, buy her a new car, and secure Ben's future. That night, the diner's neon sign flickered above them, glowing brighter than ever, as if the whole world was watching. Emily stood on the steps of the diner, her arm around her son, looking at Jack and his brothers. "You didn't just save my boy," she said softly. "You saved me too." The bikers stood silent, hardened men with tattoos and scars, yet tears glistened in their eyes. For them, it wasn't just about the rescue. It was proof that no matter how dark your past, one act of courage can light up an entire community. Jack looked out at the group, then at Emily and Ben. For the first time, he didn't feel like an outlaw. He felt like a man who had finally done something that mattered. The guilt he carried for years seemed to fade under the stars. In that small town, under the glow of the diner's lights, people saw him not as a biker, but as a hero. Weeks later, a new sign was added above the diner's door. It read, "The Black Wind Diner, where heroes still ride." Locals came from miles away to see it, to meet the man who ran into fire when everyone else froze. Emily kept working there, and Ben often played outside, waving at every passing motorcycle, knowing one of them might be Jack, and every evening before leaving, Jack would stop by for a cup of coffee, sit quietly at his usual spot, and smile whenever he saw that little boy laughing again. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories of real courage and compassion alive. And before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe one act of bravery can change a lifetime of regret? Because sometimes the loudest thunder comes not from the sky, but from a biker's heart.